Hi folks, this is all the fruit. I am on the famous philosopher's path in Heidelberg, and this huge shrub in the foreground is most probably the oldest and definitely one of the most impressive German medlars in Heidelberg. Philosopher's path in Heidelberg is great, not only for getting a wonderful view on the old town with the castle and the old bridge and the mountains, but also for fruit hunting. Let's go and look at this medlar because it's quite a strange and enigmatic plant. Not only is the medlar, the species medlar, quite a strange and enigmatic species, but this one specimen here is quite strange. The fruit are not ripe and they will not be ripe for the next couple months. Okay, somebody ripped off all the fruit you can get from the trail, but let me we are in August now and the fruit are still quite small. They will grow more and they will ripen in November. But it's definitely a big fruited specimen, we can say that much. And most of those big fruited specimens are actually proper trees around here, because they are cultivars and they have been grafted on some hawthorn. This here, however, is branching from the ground, and in 30 years I've been watching this plant. No sign of a hawthorn rootstock has appeared. So I wonder if this is actually a seedling. But for a seedling, it really has quite big fruit, and also no sign of spines, because most seedlings would revert to some natural looking state. And actually here in Heidelberg we have huge medlar populations with spiny shrubs and small fruit. But this here, really strange. Well, the philosopher's path is quite a popular place, so there are people walking around me all the time. I hope you don't mind. Over there in the background, I don't want to enter the garden now. I used to have a permit for here. It's the garden of a priest seminary. I guess nobody would tell me anything if I would enter there, but for now, let's keep outside. Well, I hope you can see this there. A not very thick branch touches the earth and then takes root and produces a new quite large shrub. Yeah, it would be much easier if I would enter the garden, but I didn't go and ask them. Well, it seems that here basically a branch took root and created a new shrub, which is by now almost as big as the original one. Well, very strange. Maybe the first one was created in the same way, because it's definitely a medlar cultivar and not one of those wild/feral medlars we have here. Well, in order to explain this rare fruit tree to the people, I made a sign about 11 years ago, and it's still standing. Yeah, they were so clever to put it behind the fence, but still, we have so much vandalism here that I'm surprised that there is no graffiti or scratches or anything. And also, somebody else, not me, planted a young medlar behind the sign. And because we are in Germany, you can see that even fruit trees have a dog tag or a little chip with a number. Well, let's go back on the path and look on this medlar from above. As you can see, we've had some problem with drought during the last 3 years, especially 3 years ago. But then the next 2 years were not so much better. So a lot of fruit trees and not fruit trees are dying. And here it seems that at least the shrub which originated from this one branch, like the secondary shrub, is kind of dying. It doesn't help that they are growing on top of a knoll, which is actually some little underground shed or cavern or bunker. Yeah, I remember 30 years ago here we had 6 nice big medlars, and then every couple years I've seen them die one by one, and only the biggest and most impressive one survived. Really amazing. And yeah, it's unique in Heidelberg and maybe in the whole region in that respect, that it is a really old medlar shrub, but not the wild medlar, but a cultivated medlar. So it's most probably a first generation seedling from a cultivated medlar. We have no lack of feral medlars, spiny with smallish fruit. We have actually thousands of them here in Heidelberg, the only place in Germany where you can find so many. But this shrub is really puzzling me, because with our thousands of medlars here, and yeah, a couple dozen, well, maybe 2 dozen old cultivated medlars when I started surveying them 15 years ago, this is the only old medlar cultivar which is not being grafted, but must be some sort of seedling. So folks, tell me, do you know big fruited medlar cultivars which are being propagated as seedlings and not by grafting? Can you tell me where this big old impressive thing comes from? If it was planted on purpose, if it was a chance seedling, because the other medlars around here, they were all trees. This is actually the only one that was such a huge shrub and the only one that survived. And until now, I don't have an explanation. I wrote the whole explanatory billboard there, but still I cannot explain this one specific medlar. So folks, this was maybe the most enigmatic and maybe the oldest German medlar in all of Heidelberg. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful city of Heidelberg, and don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.